Hello, this is Dr. Ferguson, the author of Chump Repellent, and I want to give you one of the keys to survival. First and foremost, in all my years as an athlete, as a coach, as a successful entrepreneur, I can honestly say that I've experienced the same problems over and over again when it comes to success. To be completely honest with you, I really found out there are five major reasons why I have failed and failed miserably. The truth is, I let my inner chump take over. Now, the question is, what is the inner chump, and do I have one? I know you're wondering if you have an inner chump. Well, we all have a chump inside of us called the inner chump. This inner chump rears its ugly head when things get tight, when we get fatigued, or when we get frustrated. We must repress this inner chump until it no longer seems like it exists. Basically, you have to increase your inner chump resistance threshold, if you will. Marathon runners are great at this. When people start training for a marathon, the inner chump will come out around mile 5 or 6. As they train, the inner chump will show up around mile 11 and 12. And as they get in shape, their inner chump shows up between miles 20 and 24. Sometimes they can get rid of the inner chump at this stage, and sometimes they just show up on race day knowing that they will meet their inner chump face to face at mile 23, and they will have to decide whether or not they want to be a chump or a champ. Well, the great thing about that is you really get to understand that the difference between the champ and the chump is you. Now, honestly, the reason why 97% of you are having problems achieving major breakthroughs and goals in your life, professionally and personally and financially, is due to your inability to control your inner chump and the manifestations of chump moments in your life. Well, right now I'm going to offer you the ability to repress these chump moments and a solution to repel your inner chump. I'm going to offer you some chump repellent. I know. You've seen all my videos, my coffee with Rhadi's. You've gone to chumprepellent.com. You've gotten the emails, and you've heard about people. You've heard people talk about chump repellent on the blogs and on the Twitter sphere and everywhere else, and on Facebook. But even though you've read everything and you listen to everything, and you've gone to the preacher and the pastor and the groups and the meetings, and you feel like you've done everything, things still aren't working. There is a reason why this is occurring. Case in point, some of you have tried to lose weight. You bought the equipment, the tapes. You signed up at the gym. You registered for the weight loss program. You did everything. You did everything that your friends did, but it didn't work for you. And some of you have been trying to switch jobs, change careers, make more money. You've revamped your resume, your CV. You've studied the how-to books on interviewing, on the interview process, on how to get inside of an organization and find the decision maker. You've gone the real estate route. You've gone the entrepreneur route and tried your own business. You did the multi-level marketing. You tried Amway and every other startup company out there, and you've been chewed up and spit out and dish-ragged and mishandled. And it just didn't work for you. Some of you have been trying to make your relationships work. You've gone to church, to counseling, to your friends, your loved ones, but things just aren't working out. Well, as I said before, there are 5 major reasons why 97% of the people fail, and here's what you need to do. The reason number 1 is you're getting in your own way. Believe it or not, the best thing you can do for yourself is to get out of your own way. Your lack of belief and faith in what you are capable of stops you from being able to succeed. If you are too heavy, you always think, oh man, I can't lose any weight. I heard one person say recently, I'm okay with being fat. I've never heard this in my life. And if you're slow and you don't run fast, you'll say, well, I'll never run as fast as them. Or maybe you'll tell yourself, I'll never have any money to do anything. Well, what happens is you start speaking these things into your life, and you start speaking failure into yourself. You give yourself over to the moment in life that is occurring right now, and you become a chump. Reason number 2 is excuses become acceptable. That's right. You made excuses, and then you have made reasonable and plausible explanations, which are really excuses for not getting things done or accomplishing your objectives. Some of you, without knowing it, have actually trained yourself to be quitters. That's right. You have trained and conditioned yourself to be a quitter by allowing yourself to quit. And then you're around people who find that to be acceptable. And that brings me to reason number 3. You have a poor choice of friends and acquaintances. Poor choice. Quite frankly, your peer group sucks. Here are the cold hard facts, all right? The people that you are around are enablers, all right? They're either enablers towards good quality behaviors or enablers towards chump type behaviors. More often than not, if you take a good look at the people around you and the people with whom you're hanging, you will find out why you are at the current achievement level which you are currently. In the Latin culture, they have a phrase which sums up this section, okay? The phrase is, dime con quien te andas y te diré quien tú eres. And the translation is, tell me who you walk with, and I'll tell you who you are. Reason number 4, not understanding the cost. See, that's just a problem. You don't understand the cost of winning and the cost of losing. More often than not, you refuse to invest in terms of your time and money in order to do the things that champs do. And thus, because you don't want to do this and you want to cut corners, you inevitably turn yourself into a chump. Listen, stop cutting corners. If you're the kind of person who doesn't like to go all the way to the line doing sprints, or cheats on exams, or constantly plays the lottery, that's right, I said it, constantly plays the lottery, or is looking at some way to get over, then you're trying to circumvent the cost without knowing that you will pay more in the end. Listen, there's one thing that I learned in business. I remember not wanting to pay for the coaching programs or the high price how-to programs, not understanding that if I would have just paid that money that was really a small amount then, I would not have had to spend the time bumping my head and searching in the dark for a solution that actually cost me more time and money than had I spent the money and made the investment in becoming a champion or an exemplar in that particular area. Really, just think about it. People try to circumvent the cost. People who shoplift try to get something for nothing. They try to get something without paying, and sometimes they succeed. For the one moment they don't, what happens? I'll tell you what happens. They end up paying more than what the initial cost of the item was, which they were stealing. They end up paying double. Now they're paying time and embarrassment. And the same thing happens when you try to shortcut things in business and sports and in life. Your inner chump speaks to you and tells you that you are saving, when in actuality you are costing yourself and putting yourself in debt. This happens in finances, where you go financially in debt. It happens in relationships, where you create an emotional debt. It happens all the time because you don't want to pay the cost in order to be an exemplar in that area. I guess the equivalent would be is when you're running sprints in practice and you're trying to save yourself in the end instead of going all out. If you train like this, you will pay a hefty price later. I'm telling you, it happened to me. You must learn how to repel those type of chump moments and those thoughts. And to be honest with you, chump repelling was developed to ensure that you behave and govern yourself like a champion. Reason number 5 that the 97% of people fail is because they just refuse to act now. They refuse to act. Doing something is better than doing nothing. You know, Dale Carnegie was famous for his ability to get the most out of people and show them how to climb the ladder of success. And he said this: inaction breeds doubt and fear. Action breeds confidence and courage. Action breeds confidence and courage. Right now you have the opportunity to obtain one of the most powerful products that you will ever own when it comes to personal development. You have an opportunity to obtain chump repellent. And the one reason why that I want you to get chump repellent is because what you get from it are years of experiences that I've had. I don't want you to bump your head in life like I bumped my head. I can tell you right now that I've learned a great deal in life from learning what I call the 3 F's. I failed, I got focused, and then I started flying. In the year 2000, I failed to make the Olympic team. I got focused. I got focused academically. I went and I pursued my master's degree, ended up getting a 4.0 at Howard University. I received my master's of arts teaching in 2002. Then I entered the PhD program at Capella University in 2002, finishing with my PhD in professional development and education in 2009, I got focused. I started studying. I started studying my sport, the art of my sport. I got focused on business. I got focused on family. I got married in 2002. I just got focused and decided to become an exemplar and excellent in all areas of my life. And then what I did is I did what I spoke about in some of my Coffee with Rhadi segments, where I talk about how a plane actually goes into flight. The key to a plane going in flight is that you have to increase the lift and decrease the drag. And what I did is I increased the lifters in my life and I decreased the draggers. The people who were negative and the people who were dragging me down, I decreased those people and I increased the people who lifted me up, in situations that lifted me up, in books that lifted me up, and being in environments that lifted me up. I increased those things. Why? Because I failed, and when I failed, I didn't give myself over into the chump moment. I got focused. I got focused on becoming a champ, and then when I got focused on becoming a champ, I began to implement action. I began to implement action. I began to behave congruently with my champ thoughts. I started thinking like a champ, and I started behaving like a champ. And then I started flying. And thank you very much for your time. I would highly encourage you to go to www.chumprepellent.com and get your hands on Chump Repellent today. Listen, you failed enough. It's time to get focused, and it's time to start flying. This is Dr. Ferguson, 2004 Olympian, 4-time national judo champion, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu expert, master educator, teacher, and coach. Take care and have a super fantastic day.